Hello and welcome to At the Redline podcast. My name's Alec. I'm a life coach. I love to work with salespeople. This is Kate Parent, who works in sales here in Spokane. I always like to start at the beginning. Where were you born? What was your childhood like? What was the status of your family? Status is the wrong word, but you know what I mean.
Yep. No, so I actually just moved here 5 years ago from Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I know. When I got here, people are all like, "Where did you from?" And I was like, "Oh, Minnesota." So they're like, "Oh, that's okay. It still gets cold here." I was like, "Yeah, not really the same."
Right?
But I
Right?
had I had a great childhood in
Yeah.
Minnesota. It's a really boring drive. If you hop on I-90, 22 hours the whole way, then you'll get to where I grew up.
Nice. Whereabouts in Minnesota?
Owatonna is the name of the town. So there's St. Paul, Minneapolis, and it's about an hour south of the Twin Cities.
Owatonna. What a cool name. Okay, family of origin, two parents, four siblings. How many? What's your
Yep,
story?
both parents, and I have a brother and a sister. I'm the
Nice.
oldest.
Okay.
They are both living in Denver right now. They moved there just after college.
Okay.
So I've been there for quite a while. But yeah, we're the three of us grew up. We're all born within 4 years, so we're very close. Got to be all in high school
That
together.
is so
Had
fun.
a lot of the same friends,
Oh,
that sort
that's
of
so
stuff. But
fun.
Owatonna was an awesome place to grow up. You think back to your childhood, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever it was, and you're like, we had so much freedom. And Owatonna had this bike trail that ran the whole length of the town. So us 10, 8, and 7-year-old hop in the bike trail, take it a couple miles across town, go to the beach, call your parents from the payphone there, be like, this is where we are. We'll be here for a couple hours. Bike back when you were done.
Nice. Boy, that does remind me. It's so funny you said something that I hadn't thought about for years, that my siblings, we had five kids in our family, and they're all 5 years apart. Like we were, a year and a month
Nice, yeah.
apart. And we all went to school together. Like we went to grade school together. We went to junior high school. Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was fun seeing my siblings at school.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is kind of arc of faith. What's the journey to faith for you? Is, raised in the church or kind of not so much? And then if there's a story where you made a decision to follow Jesus, what's that look like? I love making shorts out of that.
Yeah, no, I was raised in the church. We went to a Lutheran church when I was a kid, baptized as a baby and everything.
Nice.
My parents very active, made sure we went every week, and I really remember having such a strong faith family when I was
Nice.
younger. My parents had a small group, and they would go every week to their small group at this person's house, and the kids would all play together and the adults would have their time. And so I had this great group of kids that I grew up with. And then when I got a little bit older, junior high, high school, the Baptist church was a little bit more fun. So we went to the Baptist church. They had a great youth group, really active. You do the camps and Wednesday nights and all of those things. Go to Applebee's after Wednesday night youth group.
Oh, you were full
Oh yeah,
on.
half price
Oh,
apps.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
My wife has that same story, raised in church, not so much family, but yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I
What
did
a
get to
blessing.
lead worship for the youth group as well. So that really kind of kicked off. I was doing, thinking I was going to pursue a music education major at
Uh-huh.
the time, and I did start out doing that. But it really kicked off in guitar and violin and
Oh,
singing, tied into
nice.
everything I'd been doing.
Nice. Are you still singing? Are you still doing
I
anything
mean, when
with
I
your
can. I don't sing at church right now. It's been a
Uh-huh.
bit. I did lead worship for a church for a year and a half.
Uh-huh.
Couple of years after graduating high school, the opportunity came.
Uh-huh.
I'd gone to a church and they were like, well, we just had this split happen and our worship team is gone. So we're just trusting that God is going to provide someone. And I was like, that's why I showed up here today.
Oh, that's so cool.
So, yeah.
Okay. And you're living out in the valley? Have you found a congregation that you're happy with?
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
it's been
good.
going a couple of years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Good. You don't have to shout out, but you can. I'm all for building.
Yeah, I'm going to Valley Real Life. I've gone to
Nice.
several churches in the area,
Nice.
and really, what drew me there was initially the recovery programs that they have. So, unfortunately, I was married for 12 years.
Uh-huh.
The father of my two children that I have, they're
Uh-huh.
11 and 7, and he was an alcoholic for many years.
Okay.
It took me because I had a great childhood. I hadn't been around that, right? And
Uh-huh.
it took me a long time to even recognize that he had a problem.
Uh-huh.
So we moved here because Christian wife and all that stuff. You was like, I have a responsibility to do as much as I can to feel like I did everything I could to
Yeah.
save this. And so he was like, we need to get out of Minnesota, away from family. Addiction, very isolating. So I was like, okay, we'll go. Here
Uh-huh.
I don't have any family. So we moved here, and that was 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
So we're looking for resources. I was looking for resources for him,
Mm-hmm.
but he wasn't looking for resources for himself. So
Yeah.
it's been 3.5 years ago now since we split. But I
Okay.
am just really passionate about all those people that are maybe stuck on the side of an addiction relationship.
Uh-huh.
I see that need just everywhere in the community.
So interesting. That's how most people end up in coaching or
Oh,
counseling or
yeah.
helping people
Yeah.
like you. That's awesome. That's a cool story. So, do you have a particular story of a moment where you made the full on commitment, or I don't know how to ask this question without sounding kind of
Well, I mean, it's hard, right? When you
uh,
when you start out at the church, you're like, when was that moment? You're just
yeah.
raised in it. Like, when did you choose it for yourself instead of having it for you? And I would say it was really just in high school in those camps, because go off for a week
Yeah.
and that's what you're focused on. You have your Bible and you have your journal and you have worship, and that's all day, every day, and you're around
Uh-huh.
those people that share your same values. And so I mean, I was baptized out in a lake in northern Minnesota,
Nice.
Trout Lake Camp.
Nice. Cool. Cool. Well, it's a great story. My wife, she talks about how she was like in 3 years old in Bible Sunday school and doesn't really remember it, but knows that it happened really early that she
Yeah.
made a decision. And I was just talking to a Lutheran minister not long ago, and he was saying that their theology is sort of salvation happens when you're baptized as a little baby, like that the Lutheran church sort of lives that out, and which I think is really cool, but obviously I don't think that's theologically sound, but um yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah,
for
it's
sharing.
interesting to
It's
study some of the
I
differences.
love how different the journey is for everyone.
Yeah.
It's so incredibly unique. And maybe that's one of the cool things about doing, little shorts on journeys to faith is that people on the other end of a video can see, "Hey, everybody's story is so different." And that's cool. I've had two people talk about going to jail and finding Jesus in jail. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, there's two other things I like to talk. Well, two other things I like to talk about. One is adversity
Mm.
and trouble and how it shaped you and created within you maybe the person you are or another level of grit and determination. Um, how would you answer that?
Yeah, yeah. So obviously when I was I got married when I was 19.
Oh, yeah.
Hindsight being
Nice.
2020 on that. But and then those many years where I was married to an alcoholic, that was just really isolating, both for my family and friends. And so, I looked for some mentorship then, a little difficult to find because I wasn't really going out places. So I followed a couple pastors online,
Uh-huh.
Craig Rochelle and Stephen Furtick,
Oh, yeah.
both really dynamic speakers, share the truth, really hopeful, but also, with a focus on accountability, is like, no
Yeah.
matter where you are right now, you can do something to
Yeah.
change it. A lot of people get stuck in this victim mindset, right?
Yeah.
They're like, I can't do anything. I can't do anything. And the more you say that to yourself, the more it's true. Right.
What a good sentence. That is, the more you tell yourself you can't do anything, the more it's true. That is
Yeah.
really profound.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of adversity, I mean, maybe other people have this experience. I don't know. There's some people that find mentors that encourage them to be better, and there's some people that kind of get negative encouragement that is like, I'm going to prove you wrong, right?
Uh,
And that's kind of more what I have. I'm not sure if you've seen the movie Whiplash.
nope.
No. Okay. So basically, and this is a spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, it's rated R too, so that's a little hard. Just be aware. But the base of the story is there's this band director a really elite band group, and he pushes this drummer so hard, so hard. They're like, you can't do this, you can't do this, but he keeps practicing, 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 because he wants to be the best. And this guy's like, you're not there, you're not there, you're not there, right? Well, at the end of the movie, it gets to that point, and there, right? He made it. He's the best. And so you look at this director, it's like, was he a jerk? Well, yes, yeah, he's a jerk. But without that guy, would the kid have gotten so good? Would he have pushed himself to that point?
Huh.
Probably not.
Huh.
And in high school, I had a choir director that, I tried out for a solo. He's like, that was good, but I don't think you can sing in front of people, so I'm going to give it to someone else. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go lead worship for a church for a year and a half, sing in front of everybody every Sunday,
Nice.
And then with my ex-husband, he's like, you can't do this without me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thriving.
Nice.
So you have those turnaround stories.
That's awesome. Boy, I so want to pivot really quickly about in sales, I found that the reps, those opportunities that you have that may not seem very good, where your prospect does not seem like there's a buying opportunity, but you still take the opportunity to do your best to explain your product, explain the benefits, talk about the pain points, ask for referrals. You still do the whole thing, even though you can see clearly she's already got a coach. There's no way she's going to say yes to you, but you still do it. You get the rep, you get that one opportunity. And the reps are what build in you that metal that says, I'm unafraid. I can sing in front of people. I can get on a podcast. I can pitch to someone who's smarter than me and makes more money than me.
Right.
And so I love that sort of mentality that says, I'm going to go into this. And even though people are telling me I'm not good enough, I'm looking over my back saying I don't have it yet. No, I'm going to go do it until I do have it.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's genius.
Well,
Like
it's a
literally
constant.
genius.
It's a constant in sales, and I would
Right.
say especially in finance, because things are changing so quickly,
Yeah.
and there's all these fads. I mean, just like any
Yeah.
weight loss fads and all these things on social media. And so people are being inundated all the time with, this is what you do with the extra money you have. This is what you do with the extra money you have. And you sit down with people and they're like, well, I saw this somewhere. And you're yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you did.
Nice.
So I mean, I'm always having to learn in addition to teaching. But you said in sales, like, you sit down with those people that maybe aren't a good candidate, but you really never know. And that's kind of what I have
I
a
know,
heart
right?
for, is because after I got divorced 3.5 years ago, I sat down with a financial advisor and I was like, I am negative money. What do I do? And so, he's going to make any money off of me.
Right.
But he helped me get started. And now 3.5 years ago, or 3.5 years later, now to this point, I have something that I've built.
Yeah.
And I want to do the same for other people, because
Yeah.
I'm in these like Spokane moms and Coeur d'Alene moms groups on Facebook and all this stuff. And
Uh-huh.
there's so many women, especially in those groups, that are like, I need to get out of this situation. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
Or they've just left and they're starting with nothing or negative.
Yeah.
I like to help with that.
Oh, that's cool. That's so cool. That reminds me, I was watching an Alex Hormozy YouTube video, a sales trainer that's just amazing. Where's the little patch on his nose? What is that? The breathe right strip. And he's amazing, but he said he used to have a gym in a pretty bad neighborhood, and every once in a while, a homeless guy would walk in, and all the other salespeople would just ignore him, and he would sit him down. He'd say, "We're gonna do this. We're gonna have I'm gonna go through the whole sales program and tell you everything and treat you like you're a real human being, and I'm really gonna try and sell you." And more than half the time, the homeless guy would say, "Hey, thanks for talking to me like I'm a real person." And the other half of the time, it would be a real person who just looks homeless. Like, you don't know what you're gonna get.
Right. It's just an
So,
off morning.
I
They're
know,
out in their
it's so funny.
sweatpants.
No, it's so funny. We judge all the time, and so
Yeah.
many times we judge wrongly.
Yes.
Okay, so the other question I like to ask about is, I'm a coach, right? I love to coach people. I do spiritual direction where I talk with people about their relationship with God and how things are, you know, performing in that regard. And I like to ask the question, who has played a pivotal role, who has noticed you and drawn you up out and helped you become the person, whether it's a coach, whether it's just a mentor, whether it's just an adult, whether it's someone that just notices you and says, I see something really special in you and I want to give a little bit of myself in your advancement.
Yeah. Well, I guess this kind of ties back into what I was talking about with the Whiplash movie is I feel like I really haven't found that person on a professional level that has done that because I've skipped around jobs a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Everything that I've done has really got me here. I've been a real estate agent. I ran a bed and breakfast. I've managed 600 Airbnbs most recently. Music. I've been a single mom, all this stuff just coming in. My parents owned a business too for 30 years and I
Uh-huh.
worked almost 30 years. They've owned it now and I worked
Uh-huh.
for them for 8 years. So that whole like business and
You want to shout out? I'd
management.
love to.
my- Sure, corporate recognition in Minnesota.
What do they do?
They do promotional products, so
No
swag
kidding.
stuff, printed
Swag.
shirts, hats. If I need a name badge, I get it there. If you need pens, I mean, really
Oh,
anything I
throw
want.
out the website. Just say it.
Definitely. Yeah, that's
www.what.org.
corporaterecognition.com.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
that's so cool. That's so fun.
So it was definitely a fun place to work, and that had a huge impact on me.
Nice.
But personally, like professionally, the company I'm with right now is really great with training. But I guess I haven't really found that specific
Okay. Well,
mentor.
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good.
What's pushing me forward right now? So I did get divorced, 3.5 years ago, but I've been remarried now for about a year
Oh,
and a half.
nice.
Yeah. So that's my new last name, Parent, which is actually like French Canadian.
Uh-huh.
So you get that parent, however you're
Oh,
supposed to say it.
nice. Nice.
But yeah, so we got married a year and a half ago, and as moving into sales, which is commission based and everything like that,
Uh-huh.
you can't do that without a fallback. And I've never had a fallback person. I've
Nice.
always just been the breadwinner and had to rely just all on myself.
Uh-huh.
So it's been a huge faith thing to
Yeah.
have someone, that cares and
Oh,
so
cool.
giving back on the personal level and not so much the professional, but it's
Okay.
allowing me to do this professionally.
Good. Good. Okay, so at this point in the podcast, I always ask people to talk about their business endeavor.
Mhm.
And I know there's some restrictions because of, and you can explain that how you want to explain that. I don't quite know how to say it quite correctly. So I'll just sort of let you explain. But I do want you to talk about, your perfect client. What's the pain point that you help with? um as much as you can, talk about your industry, talk about it.
So finance a really heavily regulated industry, partly because of what I told you already. There's so much going around on social media, random people giving random advice. And so, top rated companies don't want to be like that. And they also don't want people to just take something I might casually say as specific financial advice and act on it and then have an issue with the company as a
Okay.
whole. So I can't share the company that I'm working with, but I do work in finance as a well-rounded financial professional and then also help with life insurance. So really I'm working with small families and businesses to make sure that they're protected
Uh-huh.
and that they can capitalize on growth
Uh-huh.
as kind of their next step. So protection is always the foundation of your house, and then you build the house from there.
Okay. So finance, you work for a pretty big company that everybody would know. If you said it out loud, and there's not a person in the world that wouldn't know the name of your company. So it's a very prestigious organization. You just can't say it because of all the legal ramifications of that. So, who's a perfect client? Who do you just love to work with? Who do you hope sees this and says, "I'm calling her"?
Yeah. Really young families, like I said, I was a single mom for a long time, and I felt like I was starting from nothing, or I didn't have anything to build on, right? Like,
Mhm.
why start saving until my car's paid off? Why start saving until my student loans are paid off? It's still going to be a while. That's where just most people are at right now. And I think people don't know, it doesn't cost anything to have a financial advisor. First of
Mhm.
all, it's free, and it's advice that you can get a second set of eyes on
Mhm.
everything. Really doesn't hurt. But overall, just young families that maybe don't think they have a good starting point
Okay.
right now, and they're also the most vulnerable, um really, on that life insurance side, like 1 to 2% of die unexpected.
Okay.
And that sounds low, but if you flip it around and you're like, oh, the odds of winning the lottery is 1 to 2%, are you probably going to play? Then it sounds high, right? So, trying to get families protected, because in the economy we're living in, a lot of families are just a few months or one emergency literally away from
Okay.
homelessness. And I've been going to a lot of like the Small Business Administration meetings, SBA and ESBA
Uh-huh.
for the city. And it's a lot of small businesses that go to those, talk about the legislation that's around and everything, talk about the homeless population. And it just really hits me that how cyclical things are finance wise
Mhm.
for people. If you get stuck in a rut, really hard to get out of that rut, you
Yeah.
know, versus people that get out of that rut, then they can pull their family for generations out of that, and that ties into being a Christian as well. Finances and faith very closely tied together, because
Yeah.
how can you give to others like we're called to do unless you have something to give? Sometimes it's time. A lot of time it's money,
Yeah.
in different ways for the church to build so that you can have more people, so you can serve more needs, or for just organizations. And there's a lot of need in our.
Cool. Cool. All right. Well, gonna segue. One of the things I'm really leaning into is selling sales and sales professionals, people that make their living on commission sales. And I love it because I sell and I want to be great at selling. I want to be great at for referrals and getting them. And so I'm sort of pivoting a little bit on my podcast to asking the question, especially of salespeople who do this for a living,
Mm.
what are some areas of the sales process that you love, that you're struggling with, and that you have to be great at?
Yeah. Okay. Things I love is the solution, right? Because I have not talked to somebody yet where there's not something we could do that would help them, whether it's protecting their family
Uh-huh.
or their business, or, making their money work for them, where it's
Uh-huh.
actually growing. You have it sitting as savings account, it's probably losing money based on inflation, so they don't realize that. They don't look at the numbers. They're like, I've done great. With anything, in sales, there's bad choices that your customers make. Then there's good, better, best options. And, it's really my job to maybe if they're good, take them to better, and then
Yeah.
eventually best. But
Well,
I mean, so that's what I love about it.
solutions is such a good answer. I always think people are just going to say, "Oh, I just love the relationships. I just love to get to know people." But you said solutions. Why is it that you would answer it that way? The solution is the funnest part for you or your favorite part. What's going on inside you that you would answer that way?
I guess I like to solve problems
Right?
overall. The relationships are good. Obviously, you need the relationship there
Right.
to be able to give them
Sure.
a solution. But for me, what I'm selling isn't a specific product every time.
Right.
I feel like it would be hard if, you're selling, roofing or something, and you're like, it's going to be 30,000 for your roof, and it's going to be 30,000 for your roof. A bunch of my neighbors just got the roofs done lately, and I was like, oh my goodness. But for me, it's like, where are you? Where do you want to go? Because that's different
Uh-huh.
for me. It's different for you. It's different for
Right.
every single person I talk to. People are
Right.
married, not married. They have kids. They don't have kids. They want to leave a legacy. They want to leave nothing. A lot of
Mhm.
people want to leave nothing and just enjoy their lives,
Yeah.
So, and they all make different amounts of money. So every solution I present is a custom solution.
Uh-huh.
So it's exciting. I'm solving problems all the time. It's like a puzzle.
You're a smart person, aren't you? You're one of
One of
those
those. I don't know
geeky
what you mean.
people that look at numbers and figure out stuff. I have another client who's in financial planning, and she's super smart, and you can tell she just loves the puzzle piece, figuring it out and coming up with strategies and thinking, four-dimensionally and stuff like that. I'm not that smart. Like I'm not. I'm really good with what I do, but I'm not. I can tell that a lot of times the financial services, they're really intelligent and they just love, solving the problem. Like it's a puzzle to fix.
I
That's
mean,
fun.
being in the office that I'm in, I felt so lowest man on the totem pole when I
Yeah.
first started because I was like, these people are so much smarter than me.
Yeah.
What am I even doing here? Imposter syndrome, right?
Yes.
And they're previous economics professors, or
Right.
they've done all these different things, and I'm just like, I came here from managing Airbnbs,
I
which is a
can't wait
lot.
to talk to you about that. I have an Airbnb
Oh,
right
do you?
across the street.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
And it's empty right now. Might take you over there and show it to
Yeah,
you.
that'd be fun.
It's but managing it has been not as easy as I thought it would be. It's been difficult.
Yeah, you have fun stories. I have fun stories.
Well,
Fun
we've only
stories.
been in it a year, and yeah, we've had some. Yeah, it's been good. I don't want to go sidetracked. Okay, so what's an area of the sales process where you feel like you're struggling or not hitting it out of the park? You feel like you really need to, up your game and improve your outcome.
Yeah, well, overall, in sales, it's hard to balance all the you have to do. Because like I said, you have to do training all of the time. You have
Right.
to meet new people all of the time. You have to have second and third appointments with people all the time, and then actually process applications. And it just seems like there's always this ball rolling that's out of my reach. So I guess it's a little difficult to balance some of that right now, but I'm working with a lot of businesses, and
Yeah.
I would rather work with a lot of individuals.
Oh, that's so
But since I'm
funny.
I'm not new to the area, but 5 years is still kind of new, and I'm
Yeah.
really just starting to get out in the business community and actually meet people in person. I was
Okay.
working from home when I did property management. All the houses were in the
Right.
southeast part of the country. Um, so really just those family sort of appointments. I have a lot of friends in the area. Friends, either. I mean, you do, because
I
it's
won't
still
say
a
anything.
solution. It's still a
You
solution.
definitely want to sell to your friends.
Do, but it's harder. That's probably the
Whatever.
hardest thing, actually. Is selling
Okay.
to family and friends, because you're like, hey, I do this thing now. And it feels like this, like, support me, but it's like I actually can add value. I can add value.
Yes. That's a mindset.
It
It's
is.
just
It
total
is, I
mindset
know.
shift. It's like asking for referrals. I remember when I decided I was going to start asking for referrals, I had to change my mind. Like I literally had to just change my mind. I had to say, Alec, you need to stop thinking the way you're thinking and think differently. Every single person that you work with, you help.
Yep, that's the difference.
I'm
It's
saying
not
that to
sales,
you.
it's help.
You help people, Kate.
Yes.
There's nobody that pays you more than they get.
But it's so much easier for me to walk into a business and be like,
Yeah, whatever.
I can help with this, and it's worked out great.
Yeah.
You know,
help your family.
Help
Help
them.
the people
I
that you
will.
love. That's so funny. Okay. Let's I think we're past 30 minutes. Let's get contact information. What's the best way for someone to contact you? I'll put it in a little banner right here, your name and whatever
Sure.
phone number
Yep.
or whatever.
My phone number, it's Minnesota area code, but I do live in Spokane.
Okay.
So 507
507
390 4031.
All right. I'll like I said, I'll put it at the bottom here. And thanks for coming on my podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was fun.
All right. If you're watching this and you enjoy the content, would you like it and subscribe to my channel? And if you have questions, call Kate.